was when the world was ending and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully, knock on wood, that won't be the case this time around. So we are so excited about this trip. This is something that we've been talking about even going into, last school year, and just kind of starting to make the plans, even though we weren't sure what was going to happen. But we decided to keep going with the plans and just to plan in case we are able to, rather than be, kind of backpedaling a little bit. So tonight, we're just really going over some simple things for the trip. You're going to get a lot more detailed information closer to February. We'll meet again roughly February 8th, February 9th, where you'll get an itinerary. Your students will meet their chaperone for the trip. We'll go over more detailed rules and expectations of the trip, and you'll get to know every day what we're doing. What time we're getting up, what time we're going to the park, what time we're supposed to eat dinner, what time we're going to perform, and all that kind of thing. So this trip is going to be a great trip. There's a lot of excitement in Walton County about this trip because it's all three of the high school band programs going together. And we're, instead of calling it the Walton County Band Trip, we're calling it the Walton County All-Star Marching Band Trip. Because we're a bunch of all-stars, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go, there you go. So we are going to do a joint performance together at Universal Studios. This was originally planned for Disney World, but the reason why, I'll just go ahead and say I changed it. Disney they're fairly relaxing some on opening up more of the parks and all that, but one of the things they're still kind of very gray is about performances and how many performances during the day. And so we had worked on our application, submitted it, it was accepted, we were just waitlisted for a while. And so rather than to make a decision and pivot and then make another decision, we just decided we would pursue Universal Studios again. The kids, I felt like I know a lot of the kids at Loganville really love going to Universal, going to the Mardi Gras parade stuff will be back, for those of you who remember that. It'll be a great time. It's going to be a great trip. I will tell you, I personally done this trip. This is going to be my 8th or 9th time doing this trip with high school and middle school kids, and so your kids are in great hands with the three of us. We've got an awesome game plan worked out for your kids and all that. So I'm going to kind of skim over just some of the things on the packet. I'm going to kind of go over some things. There's some things you can read as well. Some big changes this year. 2 years ago, I know each Walnut Grove and us, we did different payments differently, where we do boosters or do school. We were doing away with payments directly to our booster clubs or to our schools. We're partnering with our travel company doing a thing called We Travel. The great thing about this is you can make payments online. It's very convenient. You can make however many frequent payments or as little payments as you want. It's real flexible. It's real flexible with the payments. And so I think the second page has kind of a breakdown. That 2 years ago, when we did the payments, we had, there was a payment in September, a payment in October, November, and so on. There's really only 3 big dates to worry about. The first one is August 31st. We're asking this is parents and students that are going, to pay a $50 non-refundable deposit. This secures your spot for a bus seat. Okay, this lets us know how many buses that we need. We have a projection kind of idea, but we may need another bus, we don't know. This gives us an idea of how many people we're going to have going, kids and parents. Okay, that's the first important date, because after that, we're closing the trip. Okay, we're closing it because I'm anticipating we're going to have a lot of people go. The second date is October 30th. Okay, that's a Saturday. That's Georgia-Florida game for you dog fans out there. Okay, so that on that date, you need to have paid by that point $250. So that includes the $50 non-refundable deposit and $200 more. So from August 31st to October 30th, you have that time span. From October 31st to February 11th or 10th. It's one of those, is it 10th? Okay, 10th. You have to have paid your entire balance for a trip. That's 4 months, 3.5 to 4 months. You can make as many payments as you like. We felt like giving everyone more freedom to kind of move as they wish with the payments and not tying people to a payment plan. We felt like that. You'll get reminders from time to time about the payments due and that kind of thing through WeTravel. And we'll show you guys the WeTravel page a little bit. We'll show you kind of the things with that. So the dates of our trip are March 10th through 13th. That's a Thursday through Sunday. Okay, that's a Thursday through Sunday. We will be leaving here. More than likely, we will be meeting here at Walnut Grove. We will be here early Thursday morning. Okay, the buses will pick us up more than likely here at the stadium, like they did last time. And Thursday will mostly be a travel day with some part time. Okay, with some part time at the end of the day. Okay, Friday and Saturday will be our big park days. Saturday, as of now, it could change. That Saturday will be our performance, will be our marching band performance with all 3 of our groups combined. That will more than likely be in the morning, and we're going to find a way to live stream it for those of you at home that you can watch and all that kind of thing as well. Okay, and then we will be coming back Sunday. So we'll be leaving early Sunday morning, eat breakfast at the hotel, and traveling through the day. We'll get back Sunday afternoon, early evening. Okay. So it's a little different from what we did a couple of years ago, where we traveled overnight and all that. We're going to have to stay an extra night at the hotel, okay, to get a good night's sleep and all that. This is an all-inclusive trip, meaning that the only thing, your student, the price of the trip covers hotel, tickets, park, hotel room. I said that, bus seats. Everyone's going to get 3 different shirts to wear each day for the trip. Okay, covers that. Covers other things like bus supplies, like first aid kit, hand sanitizer, those kind of things, and snacks for the bus, especially the bus ride coming home. The only thing we're asking students and parents to bring on the trip is money for lunch on the way and lunch on the way home. Okay. And to bring money for any kind of souvenirs. If you want to buy the $200 Elder wand at the wine shop, you got to buy that. Okay. So it's a great trip, and I would say every time I've done this, it's a very safe trip. We make it purposely, we like to include as many people as possible, but there are some guidelines for the trip. And this is on the second page as well, I believe. So if your student receives ISS or OSS, if after their second time receiving ISS, they are removed from our trip. Okay? They are removed from our trip, period. If they receive OSS, they are removed from the trip. I had a young man 2 years ago who went with us. He received OSS 3 weeks before the trip, and I had to tell him he couldn't go. And it's unfortunate, but those things happen. We want everyone that goes on this trip, we want the best behaved people in all of Walton County, which is a lot of us in here. We want this to be a very low effort trip for chaperones. Okay. We want this to be a fun trip for students, but we also want it to be a safe trip for your students. Okay, where we're going is a relatively safe place, but if we have students that misbehave and all that, things can get a little dicey. Okay, and we don't want that. We want to come back with the same amount of people that we left here with, that nobody had to get sent home early, and all that kind of thing. We want to have a great time. Okay, the biggest thing that we need from you tonight is that, not tonight, excuse me, but by August 31st, we're going to show you how to access this WeTravel page. You will be given an email copy of the same handout with the link to access WeTravel. is that you need to go on before August 31st to make your $50 non-refundable deposit. That's parents and students that are willing to go. And then this back page, you simply just need to return that to one of your directors, okay? So that way we can keep track. We can check on here to see if, if okay, Johnny turned in a sheet and they make their deposit, they're good to go. And so it'll help us keep track of all this kind of things. So, and this, I just want to emphasize, parents, if you're on the fence about going, I will tell you, if we would love to have you go. I think what makes a great trip is having a great group of parents, a great group of chaperones that can just be flexible and make it work. It is an awesome trip. I've never had major issues with kids and discipline problems on this trip. We would love to have you guys attend. I know we're going to be looking for a parent or two that wants to do, that wants to do pictures, that wants to, we're looking for a videographer for our parade performance so that we can, start the application process for 2024 for that trip. And so we're looking for a couple parents that would love to do that kind of thing. Ms. Wilmot, Mr. Daly, do you have anything? Okay. I'm going to let Mr. Daly talk. We're going to talk more about fundraising here for a few minutes, but he's going to talk about something kind of specific fundraiser.
Good evening, everybody. All right, one of the fundraisers that has been very successful for Monroe Area High School over the years has been what we call a t-shirt fundraiser. Actually, our guard instructor, Ms. Foley, designed this before I got there. But I have sent a form like this, and I'll update it for the Orlando trip. I keep wanting to say Disney, the Orlando trip. And the way it works is you take this form and you go out to the community and family, friends, and they write you a 40-character or less word of encouragement, or it could be Bulldog tires and their phone number and for an advertisement or something like that. And so you can fill out 20 lines. Each line is $10, so if you fill out one shirt, it's a total of $200 towards this trip. And it's going to be a Disney-themed t-shirt for one of the t-shirts that we have. Universal. Yeah, I haven't made the switch yet in my head. And what will happen is you'll fill this out, you'll collect the money, and hopefully your band directors, when they pass these out, will put them in an envelope for you, and you fill them out and turn them in. There will be a Google form that is sent out, and then you will fill out the Google form each line. It's really cool because it's set up for 20 lines, and you get $200. If you have some students that are super, super good at this, and I do, or have large families, so what our policy in the past has is once you fill up one shirt, you can decide to fill up a second shirt. However, it's only $180 for the second shirt because the $20 will cover the additional shirts that you receive. All right, but that's how our fundraiser works. So here's our shirt from last year. This is from one of our students who did it. So this was our show shirt right here. And then on the back side, it has all the writing. So somebody just takes a silhouette from your school, they'll cut it out, and then they just heat press it on there. TSA can do it. So these are examples of what we did for that fundraiser. And it's a no-cost fundraiser to you. It's a no-cost fundraiser to the band program, and it's 100% profit that can be attained. And the way I have it in my head for my group is I'm going to send this out in September, and it will be due in December. And then you'll fill out the form. That way it gives people time to print them off on those Cricut silhouette machines and pick them all out. And then when we get the shirt, they just get the press them in. It gives enough time to do that. That's how we plan on doing it. And I'm sure that Dr. Brandon and Ms. Fu will have their own schedule and deadlines. I think that's how it's going to work with fundraisers. We all have our own. But this is a cool one for everybody.
And I will say for fundraisers, all of our programs, we will do things towards, for our program. And fundraising credits, because this question comes up, when did fundraising credits get applied to the payment? We will apply those slowly as we do fundraisers, but they will definitely be applied December. So that going into January, you can have a true accurate of your final balance owed towards the trip. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Pat Gallagher. He's going to talk about this system called WeTravel. This is how we're going to do payments this year. It's all online. There's going to be information about the trip, about, you can see the itinerary, you can see some other things as well. And he's going to talk about that for a few minutes.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Brandon. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, come on, better than that. Good evening. Good. So, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Pat Gallagher. I'll introduce myself. I taught high school band in Georgia for 40 years, and I'm still standing and making it through. I know how hard they work, but we've done that. And since then, I've transitioned. I still work with, I still go on Tuesdays and Thursdays to a marching band rehearsal every week, and also at a high school in Forsyth County. I live in beautiful Pickens County up in the mountains, if you've ever been there. But I also transitioned to a company. The owner is Melissa Lohman. When I retired, I had traveled with that company for a number of years. And there are a lot of tour companies around that you can pick from. We do appreciate your trusting us with your trip. But I will tell you that Melissa does a great job, and I can show you lots and lots of groups and directors that will tell you how well she takes care of students. I know one of the things is Melissa grew up as a high school band student, was not very well off, and she paid for trips herself. One of the things she does is she goes out of her way to make sure everybody has a great trip. And she will do things that are probably detrimental to her bottom line to fix those at some point. But she will do everything she can to make sure the trips work. So that's why I'm here this evening, just to talk to you a little bit about it. We have, and I worked for them, I think, about 3 years, I guess. I had the pleasure of being at Universal Studios backstage when the Walton County groups went 2 years ago to do their parade, and they were there before the world crashed. Your principal, I guess, the principal superintendent of your school system, did something that nobody else down there at Universal Studio that weekend did. They allowed them to finish their trip to go down, because I was there with 2 other groups that were at the same time, and they were told as soon as the parade was over, they had to get on their buses and go home. So they missed it like a day and a half time. So you should, be appreciative of your administration. So one of the things, we have a lot of groups that the school doesn't like, especially, do we have any boosters treasurers in here? Yeah, one of the things that they don't enjoy a lot is collecting all the money that comes in from trips. I know they handle a lot of cash from fundraisers and concession stands, and we have, excuse me, a lot of schools in the same position. And school secretaries, I can tell you, you are not their favorite person when you're bringing in money for trips, because they have to kind of keep track of it and make all the receipts. And we have a number of groups that have asked us if we could come up with a plan. So we found a company called We Travel that operates this. This is something we don't make any money from. It's just something we offer to people. And as people see it, as groups are seeing it for this next year, we have so many groups now that are coming out. We did not understand that the response would be like this, but the way it works, it goes through. There's a small charge they make. Like I say, we don't get anything from it, but we go through. So I'm going to go up on stage here. I kind of feel like a Sunday morning minister, I guess, for a while. The stairs are over there. If I get the praise band to play the little music while I wander up. Okay, here we are. So, it's like, I kind of feel like I need Simon Cowell out there. America's Got Talent for me. So, they will share with you the link. And when you go to the page, this is what it's going to look like. I know it may be a little hard. I don't know how hard it is to see in the back of the room. I'll try to stand off to the side over here. So this is the page that'll come through. Anybody here like coasters? To ride coasters? Well, if you like coasters, I will tell you that Universal has coasters, if you've been there before. Hagrid's is a new one that I rode a couple of years ago, which is pretty crazy. But I will tell you, I have not been on it. But the reports are the new Velocicoaster that they just put in is insane. It is really insane. Melissa, who's the owner, loves coasters, and she was there for the opening of Velocicoaster. She watched it, and she didn't get on, because she said she was not going to ride it. She thought it looked too crazy to her. But we'll see. Anyway, this is We Travel. It has information. Sorry, I'm technologically challenged. So as you first log into the page, you'll find it. You'll see one of the options here. It gives you select, and you can either pick the student package rate, or you can pick the chaperone package rate. They're both the same price, and it's just going to tell you there's a deposit of $50. If you select it, It's gonna go through, maybe, there it goes. And it will come up there and it will show you the pages and booking. You'll put information in there. And it's just gonna do, all you're doing now is $500. It shows you a breakdown. If you have anybody that's a chaperone, and this is only for chaperones, but if you have some people that decide they only wanna have a single room, they don't wanna have chaperone rooms or two-door room, we're staying in a really beautiful hotel. If we can, we'll maybe try to pull that up at some point. We'll get Google up as I go through this. A beautiful place, Town Place Suites at Flamingo Crossing, which is really, really nice. Double queen beds in the room. There are 2 double queen beds in each room, and there's also a fold-out sofa. So there's 4 students to a room with 3 bed options with double queen, and adults, there's two adults to a room with 2 queen beds in the room. If somebody decided they did not want to share a room with somebody, there is an option for,
What is it, Flamingo? What?
Flamingo Crossing.
Here, let me put that in there.
Okay.
Is this it?
Yep, that's it.
Ooh.
It is to tell you a little secret, one of the reasons that you're at this hotel is because I told Melissa we should be at this hotel. And you should be at this hotel. It is one of my favorite facilities for people. It's actually a double set of hotels. There's the Town Place Suites and there's a Spring Hill Suites right beside each other.
It's loading.
So that's it. There's part of the lobby you come through. Shows where it is. And they come through Studio Queen's kitchen. There is a little kitchen. You're not going to be cooking dinner in there. So, double queen bed in the room. It comes through. This is part of the downstairs lobby where the internet is. Another part of the room is it comes across. I think, yep, there's all.
I don't have
Computer area. Yeah, we can roll through it. There's a little area to buy food. I would encourage you, don't buy anything there. It's way highly overpriced. In that little kind of area. Outside there's a little picnic area. And then we're going to get into the dining area that they have for breakfast area. This is only about half the size. They have a great breakfast. They have a great buffet breakfast. That's a restaurant, you're not going there. Maybe the chaperones in that, we'll talk about that. They have a nice little fireplace, and it will be up to your directors. I don't know if they allow that, no, but they're not seeing head down, so. They'll pull that. Anyway, okay, so that is the property that they're staying on.
lots of pictures on it.
And there is a really great fitness workout area.
Cool.
They also do a lot of sports teams, baseball teams and stuff there at the meeting room. That's the outside picture, and like I said, there's Town Place Suites in Spring Hill. We're in Town Place Suites, mainly because they're larger rooms.
That's all the photos.
I'm gonna drop that over.
Okay.
Okay, so when they go in, if you decided you wanted an upgrade for chaperone room, you would just click that. Right now, we have 5 left of the single, and Brenda was talking about the payment schedule. So when you log in order to put you into the system, you pay the $50 deposit, and that's it. After that, the first payment of $32.75, or it's another $200. I'll have to go find out why that is, but it's another $260. Oh, that's if you're in an upgrade system. Sorry. Discount road. Back, close that out, there's student package rate, and it shows basically the same thing. If you have an adult or a student that are both going, if you're going as a chaperone, you will log into the system twice, put the student in for their room and make their place, and also the adult will go in and make their own booking too. So you can't go in and do adult and student booking at the same time. Okay? And then they just go through, it's really self-explanatory. They go through, as it shows the payments coming through there. There's some information in here. about the trip for you that's gonna find, it's gonna talk about Universal Studios, Islands of Adventures, thank you from Susan Stewart. Melissa has an email there and has payment schedules and details for you when you're going through. It's also on there. 10:30, $200 per person. There has August 31st date of the $50 in there. And then the final payment is due is $210. If you decided you want to make payments incrementally, you could do that. I know that I think the schools are doing fundraisers, I always do when I taught. Once they finish the fundraisers, they send a list, and Alice who works in our office will take that, and key that information into it, so when you go back and look at your account, it will show the change in pricing for that. Also go through, one reason I think people like this is because we have a lot of paper handouts when we give people, everything is here. What's included on your trip? A seat on the bus, Kingwood Coastline, which is a great coastline for us. They have 55 seats on it. We plan on about 45 per person to go through there. We travel set up with the trip page. We talked about there's 3 nights in the hotel in the Orlando area, which is the Town Place Suites. We have a 3-day 2-park pass. So when I get to the itinerary, you'll see that. But when you arrive, you're going to be able to go to the park for part of the day after arrival time there, have a meal that evening before you go back to the hotel, and then check in. We have 3 breakfasts for the hotel. We're going to have a themed dinner, and I managed to book that just last Friday. So just in the City Walk area, if you're outside of Universal Studios, there's a Margaritaville, and there's out of that. I think you did that one last time. Did you do Margaritaville last time, Dr. Brandon? Margaritaville dinner? Yeah, so we're booked back into Margaritaville. It's a buffet dinner with you make your own cheeseburgers, and then they have chicken tenders. They have mac and cheese, I believe, is there, and some desserts and brownies and things that's out on the deck. You come out and eat. So that's one of our dinners that's included. We have 4 meals inside. We have 4 meals inside the park for dining cards that are going to be included. We're similar. Both that other park is on the other side of Orlando and Universal. We have to say it that way because they get mad. They're all kind of going in flux, trying to find themselves after the past year. So they used to have dining cards, which were great. The students could go into a restaurant, hand them. If I was with students on the trip, I would say, do not go up and just use this for some chicken tenders and a drink, because you're wasting your card. Make sure you get more of a meal with that. And if I'm with you or one of our other associates are with you, we'll try to advise you the places where you get the best bang for your buck with a dining card. They may change that. There was an actual, like a gift card that has cash value, so we're not sure, because they were in flux with that last week. When the group arrives, when they arrive and pull into bus parking in Orlando, someone will be there waiting for your buses. If I'm available that weekend, I'll have your group or someone else, but they'll all be there with their red shirts on. And they're basically your concierge the whole time. They'll meet you, the students will get off. We'll hand tickets to the students to get in. We'll walk them to the entrance. We'll make sure everybody gets in the park. They're there. When the day's over and they're ready to leave, we meet them at the exit of the park. We walk them back to the buses. When they arrive at the hotel, we have their hotel room keys already divided up by the group. We pass them out to the groups, get them to the room, make sure there's no problems getting them in their room. The next morning when you come down to breakfast, somebody will be waiting for you at breakfast with the red shirt, the same person. They'll get them, make sure the breakfast. So ride the bus with them to the park, get them in, make sure there's no ticket issues again. The same process. If there's a problem during the day, or occasionally, I know high school students would never lose their tickets, but if they, somebody happens to, we will help them make sure they take care of their tickets so they can do the ride. There are 2 trip t-shirts are going to be included, and then there's also going to be a drive-in performance. The directors will talk about that at some point. There's also going to be on the bus a bottle of water, hand sanitizer, and everything. Oh, stop doing that, sorry. We do have when I said we have a 3-day 2-park pass, if you've been to Universal before, the parks, both Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios are right beside each other. You can either get out and walk all the way around. If you go back, if you're a Harry Potter fan, you go into the back part of to Hogwarts, or either side of the Harry Potter world. There's a train that drives from both sides. You have a park pass, so you can travel back and forth as many times as you need to if your director gives you permission. Volcano Bay is not involved. The water park is not involved in that one. Okay, so that goes through as we go. Scroll down, there's a little picture, and then there's a copy also when we travel. There's the itinerary there that shows right now we have 6 o'clock, 6:30 intended departure. So, and then We're hoping you arrive about 4:30. We'll go through security. You'll spend the rest of the day in the theme park. We're going to get a dining car for dinner, and then 9 o'clock the park closes, and we'll meet you, get you back to the hotel, get you checked in. The next day is Park Day on Friday the 11th, and breakfast. After breakfast, we get a wake-up call. We have breakfast, and we load up on the buses. We go in. The same thing. We'll exit about 4:50. Go eat at Margaritaville that day. Eat at Margaritaville. Stop. Sorry. It doesn't like when they touch that arrow. So we'll go through that, and then we go back to the parks, finish the day. Some of it's TBA because they haven't released any of the Mardi Gras. The floats that they use in New Orleans, they bring those floats into Universal Studios, and they have Mardi Gras parades that go through the park. And who was on the trip last time? And did you remember the Mardi Gras parade? Yes, and there's people up there, and you don't have to earn the beads, but they throw the beads to you anyway. It isn't like New Orleans, so don't get worried, Mom. Don't have to earn the beads, but they're throwing them off as the parade goes through. They usually have a little short concert afterwards in the main area after the parade. It's really cool. And we have to wait and see what the schedule is on that. Look us up when you go back. And then we have, the next day is the parade that morning, so we'll have a little early wake-up call. By the way, if you're going on this trip, it is not for the faint of heart. This is not like family vacation, where you sleep in and get up at 10 o'clock and wander. You are up and going all day. So when you come home, you will definitely be more tired than when you left. Breakfast we have there, we eat our breakfast, we have roll call, we go over meet, we do warm up. If you've been for those before, we'll do that free, marching through all through Universal Studios. One nice thing about Universal Parade, as opposed to the other park, the parade's in the morning, so once you've finished, you're free for the day, as opposed to having a parade at 2 o'clock in the afternoon where you have to hang out, not get on a ride, hang out, wait, do it, and take 3-4 hours out of your day in the course of it. The parade goes through there. We enter, we do the parade, and we go and finish. Both parks closed, we come back. There may be another Mardi Gras parade. We wait. Then, so the directors have opted not to ride overnight either direction, which makes you're not riding through there. So you'll get up the next morning, you'll have breakfast, you'll bring your luggage, roll call, get on the buses, and you should be back here about 6:30 that evening, which is probably a lot more information than needed. And then there's more information down there, and then there's some pictures. So that is We Travel for you. Once you see the link and you log in, it's really easy to get through. We've had several groups go through it, and people just are okay with it. Do I have any questions about We Travel? You've heard more from me than you want to hear on that. But, yes, sir.
So, I know it's like, like if your student gets kicked out or whatever,
Right.
None of that money is refundable. And I'm wondering if we have another natural disaster beyond our control before we arrive, what happens?
What happened? So the $50 at the beginning is non-refundable because we've already paid that out to people. We will do everything we can to get all the money back. And it would depend on exactly where we are and also the vendors.
Okay.
One reason we're using Kingsman Coach Line is we had groups that had to cancel afterwards. They returned all our money, we returned all our money to them. We went through and they calculated, we had a 96% return rate to our groups last year for people that canceled. You can look on the internet and find there's lots of schools that only had 50%, some that are right now that are having lawsuits because they got 0 back.
Right.
So we were 96. I will tell you, Melissa gave everything back that when she received a check back from a vendor, she sent the check back to the school.
Okay.
Now, with We Travel, we had a group that was canceled, that was already in We Travel, that was planning on going earlier this year, and then their school system out of Mississippi, but they made them cancel anyway. So we had to go do refunds through We Travel, and then We Travel refunded it the way it paid.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
I don't really know if this is a question for you or for one of the directors, but
Probably not me.
Okay. Are kids allowed to sleep with their parents in the same rooms?
Adrian, you want to
Ask the director.
Mine's not.
Everybody get a pat around the applause. That was good.
This is my personal history with student group tours. This is both my ninth trip doing this specific trip, going to Orlando, and this is my ninth trip doing it with Sioux Group Tours. They are remarkable to work with. We are in great hands with our trip. They do a lot of the planning things for myself, Mr. Davis, and Stu, and this just great. We're in great hands with this trip. You're going to get information from time to time from one of the three of us. Closer to December, we'll start thinking about hotel rooms, and we'll figure out a system of how we want to let kids sign up for rooms. Okay, and then we'll put out some information about that. It'll probably be after Thanksgiving break. Okay. Around that time too, we'll also talk about getting together and rehearsing before we go on our trip for a parade performance. We'll have to rehearse about 2, maybe 3 times on a couple Saturdays to put it all together so that everything sounds good, so that when we're in Orlando, it's top notch. It sounds great. You'll get a lot more of that information in the next few months and all that. And if you have questions, feel free to, you can email me, you can email one of your director, and one of us will be glad to help. So, at this time, if you have questions, myself and I know the other directors will be up here. If you want to come ask us a question, and otherwise, make sure you pay your $50 deposit by August 31st, and hope to see you guys in Orlando. Have a great night.